Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how we do a mandala coaster. So in your guys' kits, you should have 4 coasters, a paintbrush, a little dot maker, your 4 colors of choice, and then a sealant, which will be in a little white cup like this labeled S. So the first step is just to paint your coaster a solid color. It doesn't matter what color, anything will work, but I'm just going to use black. So you just want to get the paint on there. 1 coat should do the trick, but if you do see some spots coming through, then you can do 2 coats. So I did do one earlier for the sake of time. So here is a solid black coaster that I have. I'm gonna grab a pencil. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I do find that it's easier. And I'm just gonna put a couple markings on my coaster. So I'm just gonna kind of mark with the dot where I think the center point is. You can erase it if you don't think it's in the right spot. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of roughly in the center. And then I'm also gonna mark out a little ways on my diagonals and then just on the sides. And this is just gonna help me to see where I want to go with my pattern. I don't know if you guys can see that on there, but just mark a couple points, makes it a little easier. Next, I'm gonna take my daughter, and this is super easy to use. We have our small side and our large side. So I'll just kind of give you guys a little demo with it. I'm just gonna dip it in some paint. The more paint that you get on it, the bigger your dot will be. I'll kind of show you over here. And the more you use it, the smaller your dots will get. Same thing with the back side. Just dip it in some paint, make a little dot. And the more you use it, the smaller they will get. And you will have to keep daubing into the paint. You'll probably also want to grab a paper towel to clean off your little daughter in between colors. So I like to start with a big dot in the center. That's just me, but I think it kind of is a good starting point. So I do like to hold it and kind of set my hand down on my coaster to make sure that I'm steady. Otherwise you can kind of smear the dot. And I'm just gonna go in my center, just like that. Then I'm going to just wipe off my daughter. And I'm gonna probably pick a different color. Maybe I'll go with the green. And I'm just gonna go around. I'm gonna go top, bottom, both sides, and then I'm just gonna kind of fill in the points around it. Just like that. Again, I'm gonna wipe off my daughter. And then you just kind of keep going. I find that it's really helpful to look at Pinterest. You can just search like mandala design, mandala coasters even, and figure out what you wanna do. I'm gonna go back in with my big side of the daughter, maybe get a little bit less paint on it, and kind of go in between those dots that I've created. Maybe just on a few points. You can kind of dab off a little bit of your paint. It doesn't have to be perfect, that's not the point of this. And actually, when you're all finished, it kind of is so busy that it will look perfect even if it's not. So don't stress too much about it. I'll maybe switch colors, go back in with this one. And the good thing about this too is if you really, really hate it, you can kind of wipe it off and then cover it up with some of your base color that you should have left over. See, and that dot didn't come out perfect, that's okay, just go over it again. I'm gonna go into the green, and I'm gonna apply a little bit less pressure this time so I don't get as big of a dot. So I'm gonna go kind of north, south, east, and west for this one. Try to get a couple of smaller dots. All right, kind of like that. And then I'm gonna pick another color. I'm gonna go in with this small end. And this is kind of one of my favorite effects with the mandala. I'm just gonna make a big dot. And then make some smaller dots around. And you can kind of see how they get smaller. And it looks super cool and detailed, but it's just really easy. You just keep dotting around and they'll get smaller. I'm just gonna repeat that because it creates a really cool look. Maybe try and make my dots a little bit bigger for this one. All right, and you just keep going like that until you're all finished and you're happy with it. All right, so it's been a little while and this is all dry. So another thing that you guys can do is take some color and kind of do dots on top of dots. And that makes it look really cool. So just play around with it, have fun, see what you like. Another thing that you guys can do is instead of going from the center, you can come from a corner and that looks really cool too. So yeah, just play around with it. Once you're all done, go ahead and just let it dry completely. Then you'll want to take your sealant, which looks like this, and you'll want to just paint that on top, just like you would the first coat of paint. So super easy, let that dry, and then you'll all set to use your coasters.